All right, thanks for tuning in. This is my group's project. So the book that we as a group read was Four Essential Keys to Effective Communication in Love, Life, Work, Anywhere by Bento Leal III. So this book is a self-described how-to guide on how to develop your communication skills, providing readers with easy to implement lifestyle changes. The author gives us stories, whether they be his own personal stories or stories from the news, to give real world examples of his steps being put into practice. So the author's goal is he aims to enlighten its readers on how to improve their communication skills by giving us insight on what effective communication is and explaining how his methods improve all relationships. So communication is the basis of all human interaction. No matter your profession, you need to communicate in some type of facet, whether it be presenting a group project or brainstorming ideas or even in a job interview. So not only is communication important in the workplace, but developing your communication skills will work wonders on your interpersonal relationships. Good communication brings about better romantic relationships, genuine friendships, and for those who are parents, proper communication can lead to improved behavior and trust from your child. The text demonstrates good and bad examples of communication, clearly illustrating the difference in the two and providing a thorough explanation on why the good examples worked and why the bad examples failed. In reading this book, it is clear that the overarching theme is empathy, with Leal describing empathy both as a primary skill and an internal motivator to be a caring person. This book is divided into 4 skills that one must work on to improve their communication, and I'll let Jack explain those a little bit more.
Thank you. As John did just say, empathy is the overarching theme of the book. It's essentially the ability to understand and feel the emotion of your fellow person. And the book actually divides it up into 4 keys, or 4 skills, as it may be put. The first skill was awareness, which is, as the book teaches, recognizing the value in oneself, recognizing the value in the other person, whoever you may be talking to, being able to listen to them and thinking of the positives you have in the relationship, however new or old it may be. The second skill it teaches is listening, empathic listening, I should say, focusing again on the other person, but listening completely and wholly to them, listening to their deeper feelings and their emotion, not just the words coming out of their mouth. Of course, it teaches do not interrupt them, let them say everything they're going to say in complete, concise sentences. And at the end of this, repeat back what they said to you back to them to make sure there's no misunderstanding. The third skill being taught was speaking, which was organizing your thoughts, expressing respect, expressing that respect clearly, and pausing for the response, basically just the building blocks of a conversation, but really like focusing on them. And of course, just like with the previous skill, you essentially thank them for listening. The fourth and final skill was empathic dialogue, which is essentially a combination of speaking and listening, but combining those 2 skills together to make effective, quick, but efficient conversation. Now, regarding my personal experience with the book, I had an overall positive one when it came to applying the recommendations. I thought the different steps were engaging, unique, and sometimes I even had fun with them. And as a result, I think my ability to communicate seems to have improved as a whole. Among the most noteworthy improvements I've seen were less misunderstandings. This was a big one for me. I have had this bad habit where, like, sometimes people will just talk to me, it'll go in one ear and out the other, and it's like I'm just kind of listening to their words but not really like picking up what they're saying. And this leads me to saying, like, what, can you repeat that, quite often. But after having read the book and applying the skills, this just really hasn't happened as much, and I'm really grateful for that. Additionally, deeper feelings has been another side effect, I should say. I just feel like a better connection with my fellow person, and that actually leads into my next point, which is strengthened relationships, both old and new. If I had to give an example, I'd say, like, with my mother, maybe moving to college has been like a little bit hard for her. She's like empty nesting, but I've been able to just kind of rebuild like just deeper connections with her, deeper connections with people here at college, just overall better relationships. And again, better listening has been the just number one takeaway I've gotten from this book. I'm able to really understand what the other person says and repeat back to them what they said.
So for me personally, I found that the steps outlined in the book were both extremely practical and easy to implement. Speaking confidently and clearly in front of people has always been an issue of mine. However, my future career, a lawyer, and my current jobs do require excellent communication skills, and I found that Neil's book were an integral part to developing them. So some changes that I found were a better de-escalation of conflict. So I work as a referee, and obviously that means I deal with a lot of heightened emotions, and these steps help me mediate some of these, these higher emotions. And I found that I had a newfound confidence. I mentioned the lack of confidence before, but now I found myself actively wanting to talk in situations. I had more attentive listening. I was paying attention not just to the words that people were saying, but also the body language and the cues of the people I was talking to. And then finally, I found I had a more respectful tone. I was more cordial. I was more polite whenever talking to people, if I knew them or not. So, really like this book.
My overall experience with employing the recommendations from this book has been positive. I'm usually very vague when it comes to communicating how I feel to others. And this is because I'm worried that I'll cause conflicts if I can't explain myself well, and that I'll just end up upsetting someone by making it seem like I'm blaming them instead of simply just telling them how I'm feeling and communicating that properly. By using the techniques in this book, I've learned to not only express my own feelings better without making it seem like I'm placing the blame on someone, but I've been able to understand other people better as well by listening to them better. Overall, this activity has led me to having stronger relationships and not jumping to conclusions as much as I used to, which comes from listening to them more completely and openly. And this also falls into my third point, being a better listener. And overall, I've just been having less conflicts and being less frustrated with other people as I've been able to express myself better and I've been able to understand other people better as well.
Personally, I felt that Leal's recommendations were able to help me better understand conversations, both from the speaker and the listener perspectives. From these perspectives, I feel that I've been able to have deeper conversations while understanding the intent of the other person or people in the conversation. I believe that I have been able to better express my thoughts in a way which appeal to the other people in the conversation. For example, I had a friend speaking to me about how she was going through difficult times and how she was coping with her particular situation. And while I didn't necessarily feel qualified enough to give her answers which could fix her situation, I was able to use the empathy that Leal recommends to at least be a good listener, and I hopefully helped her at least a little bit by providing myself as somebody that she could vent to and feel comfortable doing so.
So I found that employing Leal's communication keys had a very immediate result in the strength of my relationships and the ease in which I was able to connect with other people. So some of the things that I noticed that changed for the better was that I started to interrupt less in my conversations. And this is something that I had kind of struggled with for a while, especially in conversations where I knew a lot about the topic or it was something that I got excited about. I would want to input my own thoughts and feelings into the conversation, even when the other person was talking, which takes the conversation away from that person and drags it back to me, which is not what you want in a conversation. So, because I've interrupted less, it's led me to be a more attentive listener, and which has also led to longer conversations because I'm letting the other person speak their entire thoughts and put all of their emotions on the line, then we're having deeper emotional connections where it's not just me trying to dominate the conversation. So, overall, the book highlights the grand importance of empathy and how it's critical to effective communication. Through a series of real-world examples, as well as descriptions of important skills and how to apply them, Leal guides the reader on an empathic journey that shapes their communication for the better. These skills are the 4 keys that were explained earlier: the empathic awareness skill, the empathic listening skill, the empathic speaking skill, and empathic dialogue. By using these 4 skills, it naturally brings you to a deeper understanding and awareness of that other person's true feelings, intentions, and reminds you that all people have inherent value no matter what. We've learned how to strengthen empathic awareness through mindfulness and self-reflection to create a positive desire in our minds to listen and relate to other people. We've learned empathic listening is improved by emptying our minds of distracting thoughts and being fully present in the conversation through a series of steps that allow the other person to get out everything they need to say before you add a single word in response. This ensures that you aren't focusing your attention on their rebuttal, but instead are focusing on truly hearing what they have to say. As for empathic speaking, we've learned it's improved by organizing our thoughts before saying them to ensure we don't blurt out harmful words that stop our efforts in effective communication. In order to give the other person time to respond and effectively slow the conversation, we focus on maintaining a positive environment for each person to voice their true feelings. Finally, we've learned that empathic dialogue, the skill that combines all the others, is improved by practicing the other keys and is achieved through team effort that nurtures and grows your relationships through love and intentionality.
I believe I can speak for everyone in this group when I say we learned quite a bit in terms of communicating with others. What we felt was the most important part of communication was being able to have empathy. And that is both empathizing as a speaker and being able to empathize with the speaker. If someone isn't able to actively listen to a speaker, the conversation might as well not have happened. However, once a listener introduces empathy, they feel a greater connection to the speaker and feel a greater desire to actively listen. Empathy allows for mutual respect to occur, and this respect allows for better communication. Communication is found throughout life, whether it be between friends, family, coworkers, or just small talk between strangers. Communication, at least in today's world, is almost impossible to avoid. However, properly expressing ourselves can be challenging. Even if our heart is in the right place, it can be difficult to properly convey thoughts into words. And I believe that Leal's suggestions and lessons can help to provide clarification to these thoughts, such as with his XYZ statement template for conversations.
The Oxford Dictionary defines empathy as the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. By completely and openly listening to others and focusing on their feelings and keeping our tone and their tone in mind, we can improve our communication skills and practice empathy. Empathy is necessary for us to relate to other people and understand them better as well. Making other people feel heard makes it easier for them to talk to you and makes them more inclined to do so and come to you when they have issues. Therefore, this in turn only strengthens your relationship with them. In conclusion, practicing empathy, which is an essential ingredient for communication, can impact all of our lives by helping us create and maintain strong and healthy lifelong relationships with other people.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
Thanks
watching.
for watching.